Founded in 2014, the Extraordinary Achievers' vision is to empower others to be the best version of themselves. The show is hosted by Chief Lady Waynette Peters, a multi-entrepreneur, empowerment speaker, confidence mentor, positive lifestyle coach, humanitarian ambassador, and a TV host. Lady Waynette is a holder of over 35 international awards for her humanitarian, philanthropic, and international empowerment contributions and holds 2 chieftaincy titles. Welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
We welcome you back to the Extraordinary Achievers TV show. Thank you for joining us. We are live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and we are always joined by some amazing guests that take their time and give us the time to create awareness, to educate us, or to share their experience. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our media and administration teams that assist me to bring this program live to you. Thank you for the shares, for the comments, and for the support. YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and over 50 various Facebook platforms where we are live. We welcome you onto the show. Those on Meetup and obviously our live TV website viewers, we say welcome onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show. If it's your first time, please do not make it your last. We look forward to seeing you again. The Extraordinary Achievers Show covers topics ranging from mindfulness, awareness, self-development and empowerment, true stories and community interests and affairs, interviewing industry experts and individuals either that have overcome adversity or share knowledge to that which creates. We would like you to take time and we also encourage you to be able to comment. So please do comment, do say your hellos, let us know that you're there, and most importantly, tag someone else. Today, we are going to be talking about my journey to success. What does it take to be successful? Here, we'll be exploring strategic habits and tapping into our guests' experience, knowledge, and expertise. And on this program today, we are joined by Freeman Witherspoon, a global entrepreneur and prolific business leader with 24 years and of being a distinguished military healthcare service in Texas, United States. Freeman, we welcome you onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Thank you. It's just so joyous to be here. I look forward to the opportunity. It's awesome.
Fantastic, and thank you. We would also like to welcome Coach Tony Jetton Salimi, a life strategist and a business coach specializing in human behavior. He is the #1 best-selling author of The Unfakeable Code, and he is a TEDx speaker awarded SME London Most Visionary Personal Development Entrepreneur of the year 2020. Coach Tony, we welcome you onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Thank you so much for this opportunity to be of service to more people around the world.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you for taking this time. We know that we are super excited to having you all on this show. Viewers, we would like to introduce you to our third guest, Lakia Lee, founder of a Project Embrace UK. Lakia, good evening. Welcome onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Thank you very much. I'm really, really honored to be here with these amazing people.
Thank you. Thank you for taking time out, and we look forward to hearing what you have to share with us. We will be back with you shortly. We are going to say some hellos and greet some of our guests from wherever they're at. Welcome onto the Extraordinary Achievers, where we welcome your comments and where we welcome you to share. Please tag someone else, share this program on Facebook platforms, also on WhatsApp and anywhere else that you can share with. So Sophia Lambry says, good evening from Joyce, Alex, and myself. We're tuned in tonight. And to you, Joyce and Alex, good evening to you. And Norma Alice podcaster and author Norma says good evening, and she says good evening to our guests, and we welcome you back, and we know we're going to get some nuggets from you. Louisa Artie from Louisa Davis and Louisa Creation says good evening, and good evening, my darling friend, and I love you. And we welcome all your comments. Sophia says, absolutely stunning. I think she's talking about herself, really. She's a bit vain, isn't she? But Makadolo says, hello, Lakia, and welcome to you. And thank you for joining us for the first time on the Extraordinary Achievers Show. And Heather says, so many compliments there. I'm loving them. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you. And we promise that it will be just as exciting. Patrick T, she says, hello. We missed you last week, Patrick. Where were you? Welcome back. And Mr. Peseda says, good evening to us all and good evening to you, and how amazing the work that you're doing and building that home for those with disability in Nigeria, and to be able to be part of this journey that you have. Thank you. And Bandy says, happy to be back, and thank you for your compliment, and glad to have you back. Now, back onto who's who and what do they have to share. We are going to welcome Freeman Witherspoon, the professional network marketer that manages several online level marketing MLM. He considers himself a late bloomer to network marketing. Prior to partnering with network marketing organizations, he served for over 20 years in the military. He has incorporated his many life experiences into managing successful business models. Military service afforded him the opportunity to travel throughout the world. He has lived in Heidelberg, Germany, Seoul, South Korea, and throughout the United States. Freeman currently lives in Texas with his wife Celia and their 3 dogs, a Dachshund named Duchess, a Yorkie named Bossy, and a Pomchi Pomeranian Chihuahua mix named Caesar. And we hope they're also watching us today. Thank you for joining us.
Why, hello, and thank you very much for the invite. I really appreciate being here.
Thank you for saying yes. That is always the number one thing. I say thank you for saying yes. Freeman, our first question to you is, to what extent did serving in the military shape you as a person? What main disciplines did you learn from being in the army? Share.
Yes, that's a great question. With my military life, I consider myself a late bloomer, if you will. I have a birthday coming up a week from today.
Happy birthday in advance. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you. I will be 62 years old.
And you look amazing.
And I was 31 years old when I joined the military. So here I am running basic training, doing all of this training with 18-year-olds. I mean, it was awesome, but I had to have the right mindset to know that I would not quit. I would not give up. I mean, it was awesome. So I would say that coming into the military, being the mature person that I am, I had most of the disciplines needed in life coming in, but still I was challenged, if you will, just by way of the young people that I was competing against. So it was an awesome opportunity. So the takeaway here is never give up. Go for your dreams and never give up. And that's what I feel that got me on my path to my success as an entrepreneur, which we'll talk a little bit more about later.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that intro into being into the military. Freeman, what are your success habits?
I would say that I'm disciplined, as the first question related to. I mean, I'm disciplined because I know the key things to do. So what I would say is the main components is know where you want to go. That means you got to have a plan, and you also got to have a way to get there, and that needs to be written down. That needs to be something that you have to recite and repeat day after day. You have to. So basically, I think it's not, the struggle is not here. The struggle is not in your muscles. It's not in how strong you are. The struggle is here. You have to work your mindset. So once you get your goals set, once you write those goals down, then you have to have a definitive plan of how I am going to get there. That's in a nutshell.
Thank you. And today, what do you hope our guests are going to walk away knowing about Freeman Witherspoon? What would you like our guests to really walk away and say, this is what I heard and this is what I learned from Freeman?
Yes, awesome. Another good question. And as we started off, I gave away my age, so I kind of dated myself a bit and that kind of stuff. And I did that for a reason. And that reason is you have to know your audience. Regardless of what business, what niche, whatever you do, you got to know your audience. So I feel that I like to speak to everybody, but I also would like to speak to the senior citizens, if you will, the ones that have not taken that plunge yet, because it's hard. It seems like the older you get, you feel that life has passed you by. I don't want to, I don't want to endeavor. I don't want to take that chance. But here's something. This is #1 bestseller. I know another one, I guess, the #1 bestseller. And this just came out in July. So I'm a #1 best-selling author just less than 90 days ago. So this is one of my goals. This is one of my dreams, was to become a #1 best-selling author. So I would like to say to the senior group, if you will, it's never too late to start. I mean, you can never give up on your dreams. You gotta keep your dreams alive, and you have to realize that it's never too late to start. So this is a feat, amazing feat, that I had set out to do years ago, long before the military, and now here I am, 5 years out of the military, and I'm a #1 best-selling author. So I think the takeaway there is, it's never too late to start.
It's never too late to start. You can start at any point in life, and that's amazing. And that's what we hope to walk away knowing from you today, is that it's never too late to start. We are going to now say a couple of hellos from some of our guests and those that are watching us. And then afterwards, we are going to introduce you to Lakia Lee. We are talking about my journey to success, and joining us is Mr. Bami Collie Roberts, who says good evening, my dear good friend, and thank you for that awesome work in the community. Alison Cross Jones, a woman I have great love and respect for. Good evening to you, and thank you for joining us. Melissa says good evening all, and thank you for the compliment, and thank you for joining us, and thank you for being awesome. Sir Kola Adene, Sir K himself, the CEO of SoundMind, doing some amazing work, says, good evening, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be here and to learn from the best. He is our twice guest on this show, so we call him one of our resident guests, who's always got so much nuggets to share. We welcome you, Sir K, and we appreciate you being here. Patrick T says, sorry when life got in the way last week. I'm here now. Yes, you are grounded, Patrick T. We need to talk about where you were last week. And Bangi says, know where you want to be and keep your dreams alive, and it's never too late to start. Thank you. And she's referring to what Mr. Freeman just shared with us. We thank you for joining us from every platform that you are joining us from our live TV website viewers. We embrace you so very much. We take comments from Facebook and from YouTube. So whichever other platform you're on, if you'd like to share a comment, please do tap into Facebook or YouTube. Otherwise, just sit back and enjoy the show. Lakia Lee, the founder of Project Embrace UK, also joins us on the Extraordinary Achievers show. Lakia is a former workforce in Nigeria and the UK. In 2020, she was inspired by then her 5-year-old daughter, she founded Project Embrace to encourage her and girls like her to embrace their natural hair. To do this, she realized she had to challenge narrow beauty standards and the lack of and misrepresentation of Afro hair, and by extension, Black beauty in the media. Lakia speaks on inclusion, representation, and psychological impact of narrow beauty standards and other related topics at various events for brands and individual companies. She has also appeared on BBC World News, IT London News, BBC Stories, Pin Africa, Talk Radio, BBC 5 Live Radio, BBC London Radio, Huffington Post, Washington Post, BBC's The One Show, Stylist, and Glamour Magazine, amongst many others. And once again, we welcome you back onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show. And again, we have got our first question for you, which is, can you give us a snippet into Project Embrace and what makes it a success?
Right. Let's hope I can make it a snippet, because I always get really excited talking about Project Embrace. But firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much for recognizing the work that I do and inviting me onto your platform. I mean, I've listened to some of your other guests and I'm like, wow, I'm in the company of great people. Is really inspiring. So thank you very much. So as you said earlier, Project Embrace really is a safe place that I created for Black women to be celebrated, to be seen, to feel worthy, and to be visible in their authentic beauty. I realized that was important because how we feel about ourselves and the representation we see affect our mental health. And I had just recently had a daughter at that time. This was in 2008. And I wanted her to, feel confident about herself, no matter how she looked. And that's one of the reasons why I started Project Embrace. So as the name implies, it's all about embracing who we are. We are on a project of embracing our life, embracing the way we look, the way we sound, all the things that make us unique, just embracing those things and feeling proud of it. We are just a small team. I have 3 other people helping me. So yeah, we still have lots of goals to meet, lots of box to tick. But in the meantime, we are really proud of the should I say the posters that we've had, the billboard campaign, because when I first started, I hadn't heard of any small organization, whether it's a not-for-profit, social enterprise, or even business, having billboards around London, let alone around the country. But I was so determined that it has to happen. And so, it took me from when I first had the concept in 2008, it took me till 2017 before I had the first billboard out. So it was just, not giving up on this goal that I had. So yeah, I'm just proud and happy to say that we've had 4 campaigns now from 2017. We've been supported by companies like Clear Channel, and it's now starting this conversation. We're talking about hair discrimination, hair bias, racism, when it comes to Black people, especially Black women in the workplace. And I think it's a conversation that we have to keep having until we can, get rid of that sort of bias completely, which I believe can happen.
Amazing, amazing, fantastic. And how does one know if one is ready to take new and bigger responsibility?
To be honest with you, I think people know when they are ready to take responsibilities. I think the thing that stops us from actually taking more responsibilities is fear. The fear that, can we do it? Are we going to fail? Is it how are people going to receive it? Because unlike what we're made to believe, the enemy of progress is not other people. It's actually comfort. So when we're in our comfort zone, we're reluctant to do things. We're reluctant to go out of it. Comfort, we can't do anything if we feel completely comfortable. It doesn't inspire us to do anything. So I always say the enemy of progress is not somebody else. It's always the comfort that we feel in ourselves or we feel in our surrounding. And sometimes we're comfortable with things that are not even helpful with us. That's how we form habits. That's why they're difficult to break, because we're comfortable, whether it's comfortable in staying in an environment that is not good for you, or relationship that is not good for you, or even a kind of thinking that's not progressive. Because we're used to it, we're comfortable in it, so we stay in it. And in terms of business, or even maybe a career person, you're kind of comfortable in what you do, in how you've been working. And so it can feel fearful to get out of that comfort zone and do something new. Most of the time we know that we are ready for it, because we have that nagging thinking or feeling, but it's the fear that normally stops us. So if you start to question yourself, think, oh, should I try it this way? Should I try this? Should I, grow bigger? For me, I would say, yes, do it. It's scary, but you will never know if you don't try. You will never know. And most of the time when we do things, or when we should I say, embark on an adventure or a venture, we don't realize how powerful we are, or how talented we are, or how skilled we are. We don't realize how much we can learn from that skill. I'll give an example of animals that have skeletons outside of their bodies, like, say, for example, like a crab. When a crab is growing, it becomes uncomfortable in its shell, and after some time it has to shed that shell for it to grow. So when it's time to grow, you start to feel uncomfortable, and that growth obviously means more responsibility. So you start to feel uncomfortable. When you start to feel uncomfortable, then it's time to grow. And it might be scary because you're not used to it. It's not something that you know, but I think that's the time that you said, okay, I'm going to take the bull by the horn. I'm going to just dive in.
This is the time to grow. This is the time to grow.
It's the time to grow. Because when you feel uncomfortable, it's time to grow, yeah. And that's the time to take more responsibility.
Thank you for that nugget. And if you have just joined us, this is Aleki from Project Embrace, and we look forward to hearing more from her shortly. We are now going to introduce you to Tony Jetton Salimi. We appreciate that we have got some questions that have started coming in. And Tony, after our introduction, we are firing those questions from our audience directly straight to you. You're in the hot seat today. Tony Jetton Salimi, a life strategist and business coach specializing in human behavior. And as I said earlier, he is the best-selling author of The Unfakeable Code. And we have seen him on TEDx as a speaker, as he was awarded the SME London Most Visionary Personal Development Entrepreneur of the Year 2020. Born in 1969 in Kostiva, Republic of Northern Macedonia, Tony Jetton Salimi moved to London in 1990 at the age of 20 to find a haven from the Civil War's atrocities in which he had to fight. From being sick, sexually abused, and bullied as a child, living penniless on the streets of London, feeling alone, broke, and desperate, he went on to graduate from one of the top 4 UK engineering universities, excelled in the corporate world, and successfully delivers multi-billion-pound technologies and people transformation programs. Coach Tony is an award-winning author of Transformational Life Strategies, a business coach specializing in human behavior, a speaker, and the founder of TJS Cognition Limited, a coaching mentoring dedicated to exploring and expanding and elevating the frontiers of human awareness and potential. He strives to advance research of and perpetuate education into the physical and metaphysical arts, sciences, religions, and philosophies of the great world cultures for the further education and evolution of the individual as well as social mankind. Coach Tony is a co-creator of Living My Illusion, 18 times award-winning coaching documentary, and a creator and producer of Into Your Divinity, Climb Greater Heights documentary series. How honored are we to have you on the Extraordinary Achievers Show? Thank you for saying yes and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm also equally honored to be on your show, and together with the rest of the speakers on the show inspires many people around the world, because what a time to do that.
Absolutely. We could have never asked for a better panel and guests as we have this evening to talk about our journey to success. As I said, you're in the hot seat. So we're firing away the first questions to you as they come up on our screen. Sir Kay Kola Adene says, what are success habits?
There are many success habits. This is what I discovered on the journey that you just beautifully actually shared with the audience. But one of the most important one is to actually realize that no one is more powerful than you are, and unless you allow them to be. The other part is actually making a decision to be successful and to be somebody to make a difference in the world, and to be somebody who becomes a clear mirror for other people to find that hope of light in themselves when they actually go through the most darkest moments. And for sure, I have had many of those. And it is on this actually journey that I realized that, there are many habits of success. But the other part is actually, you start to clarify what is it that you stand for in your own life. And how do you actually create an inspiring vision for you to serve greater amount of people? And to do that, number one habit is actually to be teachable. And many of us, we actually go through stages in life where we feel like we know everything. And it is in those stages we need to remind ourselves that there's so much we don't know. And the other part is actually to have some kind of plan and a routine every single day. And you work towards what is that highest vision for you, no matter what it may be, whether it's you want to build a family, build a business, accumulate wealth, or be innovator, be a scientist, be a doctor, whatever it might be. Every single day, create a mindset and a habit that follows that vision until it realizes. When you design and create an inspiring vision for your life and for your career, and continue to refine it, your vision over time. And the more you do that, the more clear this vision becomes. Just like when you go try to climb a big mountain, and I've been fortunate because I've traveled around the world and I climbed many mountains. When you start climbing that mountain, you overcome many obstacles. You feel tired, you feel exhausted, you feel anxious, you feel stressed, you feel like you have no energy. But eventually, when you come to the top of that mountain and when you see this incredible view, you forget all about the resistance you gave yourself on the way to go up.
And thank you for answering our very first question. And we are swiftly moving on to our next question. And here is our next question as it comes up. Heather says, what is the definition of success according to you, Coach Tony?
Definition for success for me is to actually really listen to your heart's voice and be able to filter all the noises in your head and really give permission to your authentic voice and be all that you came into this world to be with no apology.
And we have another question, Heather. We hope that you are satisfied with to the point question you received there. And Bangi asked this question, what does it take to transform yourself and create the success you are looking for? That is a good question. What does it take to transform yourself and create the success you're looking for? Do you just wake up one morning and say, I'm going to be successful, so I'm successful? Or is there a process for you to get to that stage of being successful?
I think the greatest realization I had over the years and becoming successful and going globally doing what I do is to be in peace with the duality of your nature, meaning to embrace the things that you judge in yourself and to embrace the things that you praise yourself, and also equally be able to see that kind of love that exists in every human being. So when you actually face people, you face people with integrity, with authenticity, and with lots of love.
Thank you for answering that. Now, I have a question of my own. I have a question of my own. Forget your questions for a minute. I have a question too. Coach Tony, what's the biggest factor that has helped you to be successful?
I think it's injected values and the kind of upbringing that we all go through, where basically you are never really taught the formula for success. You have always been taught to actually please other people. And in pleasing other people, we tend to forget ourselves. And this is one of the greatest mistakes. We all do it. We tend to become very giving, and we forget to actually receive. And it's fact of life that every human being, when you have the balance of giving and receiving, life will support you in achieving the greatest dreams you can ever have.
Thank you. And we like the way that your responses are straight to the point and we can memorize it. Tomorrow, we will all be talking just like you. Coach Tony, thank you so much. And we will be back with you shortly. We are going to welcome back Freeman Witherspoon, a global entrepreneur and prolific business leader with 24 years distinguished military healthcare service from Texas, United States. And we have a question. It's the hot seat moment. It's the hot seat moment from our guests.
Can you
And
repeat that, please?
we have a question coming up for you. And the
Yes.
question is, what's the biggest factor that can help someone to be successful? What's the biggest factor that can help someone to be successful?
The biggest factor. What I would say is, from what I discovered, is that you should never give up. Don't quit. Keep moving forward. And I think with that mantra, the keep moving forward. Sorry about that. I got some problem with my camera here. Don't want to act right. If you keep moving forward, I think eventually you will get to your goal, to your end state. But you can't give up. You got to keep that dream going. You got to keep that dream alive. So as long as you continue to move forward, I mean, there's a couple of key words that I heard. One from Miss Lee, which was comfort zone, and that's critical. I mean, sometimes we can get comfortable in the usual, and then we're afraid to try something outside of that. So that can bog us down. And even me, I mean, I like to be comfortable. And I could tell you, even though I had a prestigious career in the military, I would say that one of the biggest decisions that I had to make as far as career wise was leaving the military. Because when I initially started the military, my goal was to make it all the way to the top rank for the enlisted. I was enlisted in the military, and the top rank was a sergeant major. So even when I first started, that was my goal. So after 18, 20 years or so, I was on the doorstep. I had made it to first sergeant, which the next grade up would have been sergeant major. So after not getting selected for the sergeant major board that year, I decided to, even though I was comfortable, I had a steady paycheck coming in, and everything was life was great. I decided to venture out into the next chapter of my life, which it was foggy. I didn't know where I would end up. I didn't know how it would be, but I was willing to take that step. So even though it was comfortable where I was, and I hadn't made my goal yet, you know, when I set that goal some 20 years ago, I'm the kind of person that I'm telling you all now, don't quit, don't give up, and that kind of stuff. And I try not to do that. Sometimes our goals have to be renegotiated. Sometimes those goals need to be changed, but still we cannot give up. We got to continue to move forward. So I think that is crucial. And another thing that I just heard from Tony, which kind of rung true in my heart, was he said something about serve. He said something about when you're deciding or when you're moving forward, you're serving. And I think by keeping that front of mind, that I'm serving. So basically what that means is by helping others reach their goals, you will reach your goal. So I love that about serving, you know, by helping others, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, what sense of me being on an island by myself? You know, there's nothing to gain from that. So by helping
if you're
others,
never going to bring the elevator back down, you have
exactly,
to
yes,
send the
you got to
elevator
pull
back
people up,
down.
bring people up. Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
bring those people with you. That was beautiful.
amazing. And we have another question for you to snippety through it. And the question comes up onto our screens. If you have just joined us, thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about my journey to success. What does it take to be successful? And we have got an amazing panel that's sharing some snippets with us. Melissa asks this question: what is something people are not ready to know when it comes to success? What is something people are not ready to know when it comes to success? So, in other words, Melissa, you're saying, what is it that people don't want to know when it comes to
I would
success? Is
say
it
that yeah, it sounds to me like the a key would be the road is not going to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But I would say that it is simple. There's a difference between easy and simple. If it was easy, I mean, just like I tell you, one big part of me is my faith. My faith has kept me grounded throughout my 62 years. So whenever I find myself struggling, I can always lean back on that faith. So what I can see is I can see a wide path and I can see a narrow path. So when you look at easy, that wide path is full. Everybody's over here on the wide path. But when you look at simple, you know, because sometimes it's easy to overthink things. When you look at simple, that to me is the narrow path. So I would say once again, the 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 journey is not going to be easy. I would not try to fool you, convince you that the journey is going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but I can say that it's simple, provided, once again, something that Tony said, provided you're teachable, you follow those daily tasks. You know, there's certain things that you got to do. They're non-negotiable. Certain things you got to do every day in order to build towards your goal. So once again, it's simple. And a lot of people don't want to hear you tell them that it's not going to be easy. But I'm here to tell you, it's not going to be easy. But that doesn't mean it's going to be hard.
it's never going to be easy, but that does not necessarily mean it's going to be a hard that you can't do it. Yes, you can. Thank you, and we thank you for your questions, and obviously we thank you, Mr. Freeman, for sharing that
Yes.
snippety knowledge with us. Thank you. We are going to come back to you again shortly, and we are going to go back to Lakia Lee, the founder of Project Embrace UK. Lakia is a former broadcast journalist and worked both in Nigeria and the UK. In 2010, she was inspired by her then 5-year-old daughter. She founded Project Embrace to encourage her and girls like her to embrace their natural hair. We have a question for you from CK, the CEO of sound mind. And the question on our screens, and we're directing you, and we're putting you onto the hot seat. So Kay says, what's one change I should make right now to help me get closer to my success? What one change I should make right now to help me get closer to my success?
Wow, this seat is hot.
Hot seat.
Did say it will be hot. What's the one change? Do you know that for that question, it just depends on individual, because you know what one person would do easily, one other person would not do. If it were me, if I was answering for myself, I would say, what's the one thing that I would change is to keep to keep focus. I say that because even for me, you know, you could be wavering, and when I say keep focus, that means in a sense, mind your own business, put your focus on your business. And why I'm saying that is because sometimes we can get distracted, sometimes a lot, by what other people are doing. We look left, we look right, we say, oh, look at what he's doing, look at what Freeman is doing, look what Tony's doing, and see all of their accolades and what they're doing. And then you can be tricked over by that comparison. We're comparing ourselves. You're thinking, well, if I haven't done what he has done or what she has done, then maybe I'm not really good enough for what I'm doing. And I'm saying that because I have fallen into that trap too as well. And I have to keep reminding myself to stay focused on my path. What I do, I just imagine someone like Usain Bolt running, and I'm saying Usain Bolt because he shares the same birthday with me, 21st August. Yay! Anyways, so if you imagine him, you know, dashing through his race, but instead of focusing on that finishing line, he's there looking at what this another racer is doing, another racer is doing, oh, you know, and that sort of thing. Oh, look, they're catching up to me. What should I? He's not going to be able to focus. He's not going to win his race. But you see that people, when they win, and I'm using sports or racing as an example because that's easier to see in the moment. It happens so quickly. So it's an easier analogy to use. So you see them, they're focused straight on that finishing line and nothing would distract them. And that's how you get to your finishing line. So I would say the one thing you do is not to be distracted. Keep focused because there'll be so many distractions. There's space for everyone. We are all unique. The way you're going to get to your journey is not the way someone else is going to get. The way you're going to get to your goal is not the way someone else is going to get to their goal. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's journey is different. Our strengths and our weaknesses are different. So concentrate on your own. Also, forgive yourself for the mistakes that you make. You know, if you made a mistake, forgive yourself. You know, instead of beating up yourself and thinking, oh God, look at what I've done. Just think, okay, this is a learning moment. What am I going to learn from it? Sometimes you may not learn anything immediately from that mistake, but you will learn if you just keep yourself focused. Okay, I've made that mistake. Don't look back at that mistake and think, oh, dwell on it. Don't dwell on it. Just focus forward. Okay, I've made it. I tricked. I'm getting up and I'm moving forward. If you see, say, a child of 10 months old, 11 months old, learning to walk, and they trip over, you don't say, oh, look, you've fallen down again. You encourage them to stand up and keep walking. You don't think because they've fallen once or twice or three times that they're never going to walk. So you should think of yourself that way. Just because you've tripped once, twice, three times, 17 times, doesn't mean you're never going to walk. Just keep focused on that goal. You fall, you get up, and you keep moving. You fall, you get up, you keep moving. You make a mistake, you get up, you keep moving. Don't look left or right. You can be inspired by others. You can be encouraged by others, but don't compare yourself. Just keep going because you can get to the end.
Amazing. Thank you. And on the note of mistakes, what mistakes have you made along the way that you can share with us?
Hey, right. How long have we got?
We only have got exactly a minute for you to answer this question. What mistakes have you made along the way?
I'll choose one mistake which I made recently. So someone came to me and told me how much they can do for me and what it would cost for the campaign, for the recent campaign we did, which was Afro Visibility in STEM. So we photographed 12 amazing women in STEM, Black women in STEM, doing all things from engineering to artificial intelligence, and to put them out there to encourage and inspire young girls that they can go into STEM too as well. That science, technology, engineering, and maths is for girls and it's for everyone. Anyways, so this person said, oh, I could do all of these things, and I did pay them the money and they didn't deliver. Looking back now, to be honest, I'm not even too sure what I would have done differently. But in terms of, believing them and paying them, because I did check them out. But what I am learning from that is not to dwell on it. That has been made, that mistake has been made, and I will just continue moving forward. So for me, it felt like a mistake that I spent that amount of money to pay this person that didn't give me the service. But I've made peace with it, and put it that way. I've made peace with it, and we move on.
You have made peace with your mistake, and you have learned it and strengthens you. Thank you. And we'll be back with you again, and we are going to go to Coach Tony J. Salimi, the award-winning author, transformational life strategist, business coach specializing in human behavior. He is the founder of TJS Cognition Limited, a coaching and mentoring association, and he today joins us to share his snippets of his story. And may I add, Coach Tony is the co-creator of Living My Illusion, 18 times award-winning coaching documentary, and creator and producer of Into Divinity, Climb Greater Heights documentary series. And for many of us, we can go back onto YouTube and we can find his TEDx talks and many more. There is a question for you from one of our amazing women, T. I love you. She's one of our amazing, super amazing promoters of the show. And she says, how does one come back from failure? I'm guessing the road to success is full of failure. So therefore, if the road to success is full of failure, how does one come back from failure, Coach Tony?
Many of us, we've been conditioned to think that failure is something bad for us. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we all need to consider, and it's wise to do, is actually to start looking at what are the key learnings and what is the benefit of that failure. Because our psychology tend to have one-sided way of looking at life. So many of us haven't been trained to look objectively at the things that actually happen to us. Now, none of us was born with no mistakes. No person I've met on the journey to success never failed. It's impossible for you to actually create something without having to fail. Science has had many failures throughout centuries until they actually perfect and master something, and that becomes mass-produced for the benefit of humanity. So failure has this incredible way of shaping us into a great teachers, and also into clarifying what is it exactly that we want. Because if we go on and analyze our individual journeys, and this case for any person out there who's listening to us, and look at whatever they may feel they failed in that moment, that most likely they're not looking at what they succeeded. So failure and success are like the two cheeks that we have in our face. And we must observe them with equanimity and with objectivity and draw the lessons out of it so we can actually continue to stand up every time we fail.
And we can stand up every time we fail. As an 8 times international bestseller of your multi-award winning books, A Path to Wisdom, Loneliness, Fit for Purpose, Leadership, The Unfakeable Code, and the upcoming books, A Path to Excellence and The Unfakeable Genius. You now travel the world, providing practical solutions to life's challenges with your talks, workshops, seminars, one-to-one coaching programs, and vital planning for elevated living business and life mastery VIP retreats. My question to you is, what experience do you acquire through a life journey to deliver this? What makes you able to deliver these and deliver them well? What's equipped you to be able to be you, to deliver so many books, to be an award-winning author, to be able to create the documentaries that you do, to grasp people's attention, to change people's lives? How did Coach Tony get to this stage in his life?
You mentioned just some of the challenges that I had to overcome. And each challenge that I had to overcome, if I look back at it, had so many lessons that took me years to actually understand how every challenge, how every pain, how every time I was being put down and every time I was criticized or being made to feel not good enough and being told that I will never succeed in my life, actually also gave this fuel for me to really use that as a way to educate myself. So one of the key things that I got from my parents, my late parents, is the importance education plays in our role of life, especially into stepping into our divinity. Why? Because no matter where you are, children around the world and adults around the world are being conditioned in a way to think they're not good enough, to think they're not worthy of receiving, to think that they're not worthy of the divinity that comes through the very same creator we all, in a way, look up to, God, no matter what religion you are, meaning to life, to universe, to the abundant universe that most of us realize at some level of awareness and consciousness that universe is infinite, it's limitless in what it can provide. But what's not being taught out there, how to really transform your inner world in alignment with the outer reality that we want to experience. And the fact is, all of those things that we've discussed, whether it's what Likia was saying, what the Freeman's saying, what you are saying, what people are asking, are those experiences. Unfortunately, as I said, many of us are conditioned to look at those as a critical way instead of looking at them from a point of actually learning. And what is it, the learning that life is showing us and how we can come back into our true authentic self. So for the last 30 years, I spent most of my life to actually educate myself, learn thousands of books, attended many trainings, developed a very successful technology career, and I never stopped learning through all of that. I mentioned earlier on, which Freeman also mentioned it again, which is to have this teachability index, to never stop learning. Because the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing, the moment you go against the very same nature you are made of, life. Life is a gift, and most of us are not taught how to turn that gift into experiences that enrich our lives.
Having a teachable spirit, I call it. The minute that you stop having that teachable spirit, you're completely and truly finished. We never stop learning. Each and every day we learn. I was saying to someone the other day, and I say it all the time, that I learn something even from my grandchild. My grandchild teaches me, my youngest grandchild teaches me something new every single day. My other grandson, the other day, I've got this tree which lights up, and obviously plug it into the mains for it to light up. He took the scissors the other day and he chopped it off. And I said to him, he's 3 years old, and I said to him, Jordan, why did you chop off my tree? He said, Nanny, I chopped it because the tree just looked really long. It needed chopping off. And I realized that even a 3-year-old knows about trimming a tree, and how amazing is that he actually realizes that trees, they need pruning too. Coach Tony, thank you for your time, and we will be back with you shortly. We are going to read some comments, and after reading some comments, we will invite Freeman Witherspoon back onto our screens. So let's read some of your comments. We thank you for your comments. We thank you for your shares. We thank you for tagging someone else that is on that journey to success or would like to be on that journey to success. DC says good evening, and to all the global listeners, and good evening to you, and how amazing it is to have you back on the show. Thank you. Laurel Perkins says good evening, all. Good evening, Laurel, and thank you for joining us. And Toyin, hey, Doll, thank you for joining us. She says good evening, and good evening to you. Mildred Spencer says good evening, all, and thank you for joining us, Mildred. It's nice to have you here. Bulelwa says thank you, Miss Lee, as she's appreciating the advice that we've been receiving. Mildred Spencer says, thanks, Tony, for such wonderful information. Thank you for your comment. And Tia Labi says, it's never going to be easy. That's true. And never is going to be easy. Heather says, great works, Coach Tony. You are an inspiration to fall, but keep climbing the mountain until you start seeing the beauty whilst on top of the mountain. And how very true indeed. And thank you. Melissa says, brilliant answer, Mr. Freeman. It won't always be an easy road, but you need to keep going. And we appreciate you. Kelsey says, yes. And PK, thank you for your comment. Professor Rotimi says, thanks, not just distractions, but avoid detractors. Not just distractions, but avoid things that detract you from where you are going. Thank you, Professor. We thank you for that comment. Tialabi says, thank you to the panelists, loads of wisdom. And we thank you. Oh, hey, how are you doing, Coach? Thank you for joining us. This is a Coach, and if you didn't watch her last week, you need to go back and listen to this amazing woman. She says, fall your way into success. Fail your way into success. Fail your way into success. In other words, from all those mistakes, you are going to get there. Coach, we thank you. Caroline says, stand up every time we fail. Powerful. Yes, absolutely. We should keep on getting up. Melissa said, these days I tell myself, take a break, breathe, but do not quit on your road ahead. Thank you, Melissa, for that comment. And Coach Altonell says, remarkable work done by Coach Tony. Self-induction is key. Life is a gift, 100%. Oh, yes, it is. And Caroline once again says, turning our negatives into positives. Brilliant. Teresa, hey, Guan, girlfriend. She says, a very inspiring Guan. And thank you for joining us, Teresa. And podcast and author Norma Ellie says, there is no success without failure. There isn't at all. And remembering that a few years back, I have a story where I was completely homeless, and now I'm back here by the grace of God. My story is from riches to rags to the grace of God. Bamikali Roberts says, to be successful, we must be willing to cultivate a high tolerance for uncertainty. Stepping out of the known into the unknown is scary. We crave security and prefer to remain in our own comfort zone. So we should stop being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. There's always a better tomorrow. Thank you for all your comments. Keep them rolling. Ask them some questions. Put them on the hot seat and on the hot spot, and ask them the questions that are wildly out there that we would like to know. Freeman Witherspoon, that global entrepreneur who joins us from Texas, United States today. He is partnering with multi-level marketing organizations. He served for over 20 years in the military. He has incorporated his many life experiences into managing successful business model. And we have a question for you, a hot seat question for you coming up onto our screens. Question. What does happiness in a successful person look like and feel like? Ooh. How do we know that this person is successfully happy, and not super stressed? Yes, success comes with its own stress, and it does come with a lot of dedication and very little sleep, may I add. But what does happiness look like in a successful person?
What I would say is success is different for different people. You know, to one person it might mean extra time with the family, you know, with the kids, with the grandkids, being able to travel whenever you want to travel and take whoever you want to take with you and that kind of stuff. So time freedom. So it all means something different to different people. At the same time, you just have to get in a place. I mean, the world the way we're living in right now is just, it's just so much stress. I mean, with pandemic and everything that's going on right now, you got to find yourself in a stress-free area in order to have mental wellness. So everybody wants mental wellness, and that means just like success, mental wellness has a different meaning for everybody, whoever you ask. So I would say, you know, just to kind of sum that up, it's different for different people, but at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to know who you are. That means you're not concerned about what other people say about you or whatever. So you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And so to get to that place is key. I mean, once you get to that place, you know, you got your mental wellness, you got your financial stability, you don't have to worry about, you know, job security, any of that kind of stuff. So I would say that individually, you would know when you get there, and you would know exactly what it feels like once you get there.
It's when you can be happy with your success and be happy in the environment that you are in. And I
Yes.
can add that by saying that to me, success is when you are happy with being yourself in what you're doing, when it's not so stressful that you're not enjoying it, but you look forward to the next morning because you have something else to do, when you're grounded in your success. And the one thing that you've all said earlier is about serving. When you learn to serve and what you're doing, you can see the benefit of it in others and for others. Thank you. Next question is from me, and my question is, what was the hardest decision you've ever had to make in your journey?
Yes, and I struggle with this one. As you already know a little bit about me, I joined the military at 31, and I had specific goals and that kind of stuff, you know, to make it all the way to the top. But there's a saying, and it goes kind of like, a lady knows when it's time to leave. So I like that. So I kind of use that. So I kind of felt that I knew that it was time to start the next chapter in my life. So it's kind of like an oxymoron in a way, meaning that I didn't make it to the sergeant major's rank that I wanted. I was one step below. Even though I didn't make it there, I still didn't consider myself a quitter. I didn't consider myself a quitter, meaning that I gave up on my goals, I gave up on my dreams. It's just that it was time to reshuffle, if you will. And now I wanted to move on to the next level. So that kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier as far as the comfort zone. I mean, when I was in the military, I had a steady check. I mean, I had the prestige and all of that kind of stuff. And it was comfortable. It was a good life. But you also got to be able to move beyond that. I mean, right beyond the horizon. So even though I knew what I had at the time and it was good, I was willing to take that chance to see what's on the other side. Meaning I wanted to see what that next chapter was. So my last couple of years in the military, I decided to educate myself, to get into those books, to start doing seminars, entrepreneur workshops, to start doing those kind of things to prepare myself for the next chapter. So, and so I would say in a nutshell that the hardest decision I made was still the easiest decision I made, because it got me out of my comfort zone. So I think that was the decision that I made to leave the military and start my next chapter.
Thank you for sharing your hardest decision. You decided to step out of your comfort zone and become something else.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman, in general, what life advice would you like to give to our audience today? What wisdom would you like to share with our audience today?
And it just goes back to what I've been saying the whole time here is follow your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It's never too late to start. Never quit. Don't give up. And that all goes together. That's the circle of life. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you got to follow your dreams. You never quit. You don't give up. I mean, that's it. That's the circle of life. I mean, there's going to be stumbling blocks. There's going to be struggles. There's going to be times when you feel like it's not working out, or I had a bad day. Nobody wants to hear whatever I'm doing or whatever. Nobody want to support my business. There's going to be days like that. As we said, it's not easy, but it's simple. So, but as long as you continue to do those daily activities, those things, those fundamental, those foundations, as long as you continue to do those things, everything's going to be okay.
Thank you. And we thank you for your time this evening. We thank you for your wisdom, and we thank you for taking time out to share your journey with us today. You certainly raised questions in many of us, and we have some inner questions that we have to attend to later. We will have you back on our screen shortly to thank you one more time. We are going to go to Lakia Lee as we welcome her back, founder of the Embrace Project. And as she joins us today, we have a question for you. When you speak to your inner self, when Lakia Lee is there and she's lying down in her bed and she's having a walk and she's having one of those moments, how do you see your success path? Do you see yourself as in that path that this is definitely my way to success in my life? I'm being successful in what I am doing, and I am succeeding in changing someone else's life, and I'm creating that dream and vision for my daughter. How is it in the world of Lakia Lee? How is Lakia embracing her success path?
Wow. Well, how is Lekia embracing her success path? There are days when I embrace it with happiness, gratitude, and the full, completely. And there are days when I don't. And I'm just learning to forgive myself for those days that I don't. Because I think it's something that we have to do daily, just daily gratitude of looking back and knowing that you have done what the best that you can do on a particular day. And even if you haven't, that's fine. There's always another day for you to continue again. I visualize myself, going around talking to people, helping especially Black women feel confident in their authentic beauty, in their authentic self. Because I feel if we don't feel comfortable about ourselves and how we look, it's very easy for people to manipulate us, very easy for people to bring us down, very easy for people to upset us, and very easy for us to get stressed by everything that's happening around us. So for me, when I think of a few people, the people that I have touched, people that have written to me, people that have sent me messages, that have made phone calls and say thank you very much for what you've done. People with children and say thanks very much for this campaign. I show the images to my daughter and she feels good about herself. She feels like she's enough, and because that's our tagline, I am enough, is it's just to remind ourselves every day. And when I see myself as doing even more, and also being like your other guests and being an author. So I plan to write a book. So that's one of the things that I see. I plan to make television as well. That would all be reflective of embracing ourselves, embracing our authentic selves, being comfortable in our skin, being comfortable in how we look, defying that narrow idea that there's only one way to look beautiful or presentable or professional or whatever. That's how I see myself. Also, I just wanted to add that in the daily practice of doing something every day to get closer to your goal. I think it's very important to add rest and to add, sitting back, because that's something I struggled with. I used to think every day I had to be, struggling, fighting the good fights and all of that. But I've come to realize that also resting, just taking time and enjoying yourself is very, very crucial, because then you're refreshing your mind, and you come back and the way ideas come to you, sometimes much faster when you've taken a few days off, so it's, I just wanted to add that it's important that we don't feel guilty about stopping, about taking a break, and about resting. But it's also something that we have to put in our daily, well, probably not every day, but at least as often as possible. That rest, that idea that, what, step back, enjoy yourself, even if it's going for a meal, just stopping and watching TV, or just stopping and watching the extraordinaryachievers.com, just,
Absolutely. I love that one.
yeah, and just don't think about your work or anything, and then after that you come back to it refreshed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And as you say that in a snippet, what we should do to be able to assist ourselves to get closer to success. And I like that one. Take time to just enjoy the little finer things in life, isn't it? Even if it's just having a nice meal, going out for a walk, watching the Extraordinary Achievers show, all of the little snippets that you just shared with us. We thank you for that. We apologize for the interference that we are having as we are connecting to you, but I must say we have heard some amazing nuggets from you today, and how to embrace ourselves. And I love the nutshell that you're coming with, is that we should embrace the natural beauty within us, which is in us, because that is really who we are, and that is what you are sharing with others. Celebrate you for who you are and how you are made, and everything else will fall into place. We so appreciate you. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the person that you are. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I might have been on mute. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Enjoy the compliments. Enjoy the compliments. Enjoy the compliments.
Thank you so much. Yeah, because it's important also to accept compliments, because that's also something a lot of people, especially women, find it very hard. Someone compliments you and you say, "Oh no," you try to, counter it. But yeah, I think it's not narcissistic to say thank you very much when someone gives you a compliment.
On and embracing them, like you say, embracing them. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to take a couple of comments, and we are going to go back to ask Coach Tony your questions that we have left from you this evening. We welcome your comments, and we thank you for your comments. We thank you for sharing from all our various platforms. Patrick T says, "Why do we fall, sir? So that we can know when to pick ourselves up." Brilliant. Could never say it any better. Podcaster Norma and author Norma Ellis says, "One shout, not wait to be successful, be happy." Thank you. And Heather says, "Great answer, Mr. Witherspoon." Thank you. Altonel says, "Preparation before leaving us is key. It's never too late." 100%. We thank you for your comments, and we thank you for all your questions. We are going to welcome Coach Tony back onto our screens, and we have a question for you. And one of our viewers has this question for you today. And we thank you for your questions. We thank you for your time. Heather says, "What are the strategies for staying positive?"
One of the things that I realized over last 40 years of studying many disciplines is to actually stay away from chasing positivity. So the first thing you want to do is actually to understand there's the dark and there's the light in you. And it is the unity of the dark and the light that awakens your heart. And it is with an awakened heart that you actually create this inner peace within yourself. And it is from that inner peace you can actually create any miracle in your life. So it's not about staying positive. It's like, in fact, it's about embracing the dark and the light within you. And when you are negative, to remind yourself of those positivity. And when you are positive, also, it is very important to remind yourself there's the other part of you that wants to dwell on negativity, and being able to intelligently use when you need to be negative and when you need to be positive, and use those as almost like guidelines into equanimity, into being focused in what is it, the highest thing that you value in your life, and how to go about it to create it.
Thank you, Coach Tony. We have another question for you coming up onto our screens. Heather again asks this question. Heather, you have been a good student today. A+ for you. She says, what personality trait should every successful leader have? What personality trait should every successful leader have, Coach?
So there are thousands of traits out there that actually you can go into the Oxford Dictionary and go through it. And a successful leader, they go one by one and you own them. So there's not one trait. It's actually every trait out there that you see in other people. When you own them, you actually come back into your true authentic self. And from that true authentic self, being able to take back control of your life. And it is the reason I wrote The Unfakeable Code, which already won multiple awards. And it's only a couple of months that I released the book. And the main tagline is take back control, lead authentically, and live freely on your own. And within that, I actually share very refined 5 principles that actually can not only make you successful, but also make you have that inner peace that most people seek. Not just that, but a lot of people on the journey to success, they actually lose their wealth, they lose their family, they lose their children, they lose their identity, they lose their homes, and they try to fail many times. But what if there's a smarter way to go about success? So during the COVID era, from the moment the COVID hit, I had to adapt very quickly my business and actually inform all of my clients business as usual. Luckily for us, we had technology, we had Zoom to be able to just continue the journey. Most people stop at the first challenge, and COVID was something that stopped the entire world. But in fact, it's not the entire world. A lot of people created successful businesses. We had so many transformation in technology. Many companies who never used technology and actually resisted to invest in technology, they were forced to invest in technology. There were so many amazing products that were created during the COVID era. The question is, why not you? So, the Unfakeable Code deals with those things that pretty much what stops us, which is our psychology. And when we start to want a new reality and we want to be extremely successful, or whatever that success means for you, actually we need to be real with ourselves. Do we have the mindset? Do we have the psychology for the goals, for the dreams, for the vision we want to create in your life? And if we don't, what is the first key steps we need to take to actually take back control? Take back control truly takes you through that journey of actually what is it within your mind that you can change, you can transform, you can own, and own all of those traits that you admire in other people. So for instance, if you want to grow your business, speaking is one of the key traits to actually master. And, being somebody who wasn't very uncomfortable speaking, to actually learning to speak and being able to deliver a talk at the UN, deliver a talk at, I opened the conference of TEDx with my technological Armageddon talk, which has 500,000 and more views, and it was broadcast globally, even on a TED platform. It took me a lot of failures to be able to deliver an amazing talk. So, the trait of speaking, it's one of the traits that every person who desires to be successful must master. And I heard Lakia wanted to write a book. In Vital Planning, I've helped all of my clients write not just one book, but a series of books. Why? Because the person has tremendous wisdom and intelligence. And a lot of people that I've seen who become author, they become author that nobody reads their books. And having sold over 1 million copies of my book, I realized there are key principles when you come to writing a book. So I took the knowledge of writing 5 books and put that into a process that I now teach to many of my clients who actually I'm helping them build 7 to 10-figure businesses. So the key traits is actually looking at what is your vision and what are those people that inspire you to really become great. For sure, the inspiration is something that steps within us, but we need role models around us who can actually show us that there's a better way to do things. Because When having worked for 20 years in technology, all of my clients get the benefit of actually having somebody who knows technology and how can they boost their business and their processes through technology. Having done the same with psychology, cognitive behavior, and also healing and spirituality, a lot of people are seeking to balance those two worlds, the material and spiritual world. So really sit down and write down the traits that can help you get where you want to be.
Thank you, Coach Tony Jetton Salimi, life strategist and business coach specializing in human behavior, the #1 best-selling author of The Unfakeable Code, a TEDx speaker awarded SME London Most Visionary Personal Development Entrepreneur of the Year 2020. Coach Tony, let's have that book again. Show us that book again on the screen. And can you tell us where can we get the Unfakeable Code book from?
You can get it from all major bookstores around the world, including, at the moment, we're running a special promotion until Friday. You can get the book on Kindle for 99 cents. So we did that to richly impact as many people because we already got the bestseller status. We already got 2 major literary awards around the world. And it's been promised by a lot of book critics, it's going to be the next New York Times bestseller. So watch out.
Amazing and fantastic. Let's welcome on to our screen Freeman Witherspoon, a global entrepreneur and prolific business leader. Is a distinguished military healthcare service in Texas, United States, in United Texas. Texas has just become united. Can you please show us your book, please, Mr. Freeman Witherspoon?
Yes.
Thank you. Can you tell us where do we get the 13 Steps to Riches from?
My book is the 13 Steps to Riches, and this is a 13-part series based on the classic by Napoleon Hill, Think and Go Rich, Think and Grow Rich. So this is awesome. And the first volume, which is Desire, that's what I have here, came out in July. The second volume, which is Faith, just came out last week, 7 days ago, came out on 15 September, and it is already a #1 bestseller in 7 different categories. This one also is a #1 bestseller, the first volume. And this is at all bookstores, any bookstore, you can go and find this. And this is a good read, especially if you're early in your journey on success. If you're early into your journey, this is a very good read. And there's one thing that I want to just comment on. It was a question to Tony about, getting back up again. When we fail, we all fail. We fall down, but we get up. We have to get up. And one thing about that is something that kind of stays clear in my mind is Thomas Edison with the invention of the light bulb. He did not fail 10,000 times. He found 10,000 ways that would not work. And then 10,001, where we can see the light. If he had decided not to continue, we would be sitting in the dark today. And I think that really rings true. So he didn't fail 10,000 times. He just found 10,000 ways that would not work. But he continued. He pulled himself up, and he continued to move forward. And that's rings true today. That's exactly what we have to continue to do today in order to be successful.
Thank you. And we also want to invite Lakia Lee. And Lakia Lee, do we just go to Project Embrace UK? Can we please have Lakia Lee's website on our screens and see there, www.projectembrace.org.uk. If we want to be part of embracing our natural beauty, if we want to be part of the journey from how you were encouraged by your 5-year-old daughter to be the founder of Project Embrace and encouraging her and girls like her to embrace their natural hair, do we just go to this website, www.projectembrace.org.uk?
Yes, go to the website and you can see all what we're doing, but also follow us on social media as well. Instagram is Project Embrace, and Facebook Project Embrace UK. We have an event on the 30th of September where we're going to be diving deep into how to overcome the trauma of microaggressions that we face, or the traumas that we've had as children that play out now as we are adults. So that's, I'm really looking forward to that. Also, we have an exhibition that is out. The link is in our Instagram page, on our Instagram bio, also on our LinkedIn page as well, which is Project Embrace UK, and our Facebook page, which is Project Embrace UK. I encourage people to visit it, and just read the stories of some of the women there, and also encourage you to share it among young people, especially young girls, young Black girls, who are made to feel like because they are girls, they're not, they can't, pursue subjects like maths or science or engineering and things like that. And just to encourage them, for them to see other people like them doing great things in the area of STEM, but not only in STEM, generally too as well. So I will encourage people to please share that exhibition with as many people as possible. And one day I'll have a book too to show. I can't hear anyone. Right, I can't hear you. I don't know if everyone can hear me. Uh-oh.
Yeah. The media team, they just get stuck to the end of the show. They just want us to go home, basically. So they just got cutting me from talking. Yeah, thank you so very much. We also have some comments that we have from those at home. So we're going to have these comments coming up as we round up. We thank you to our guests and thank our audience that have taken time today to join us on this show so that we can have such a let's have some of those comments. Thank you so very much. If you have joined us